Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and it's been a few days since iOS 11 Beta 9 has been out, and I've been using it every day, all day, and this is probably the closest I've seen to a completed beta. The betas tend to have bugs all the way from the first one being the worst, and they improve over time, and probably on the 12th of September when we have the next iPhone event, we'll probably see the Gold Master. That's the final version before it's released to the public. And that particular version, this is probably really close. So Apple's worked out a lot of bugs. The one thing they haven't worked out is the 3D Touch stutter on the 7 Plus devices. This particular device, it works well, but that 3D Touch stutter is still there. However, everything else seems to be nice, fast, and fluid at this point. I haven't had to restart the phone. It hasn't locked up on me. Apps haven't really crashed much. It's just much, much better. And this time around, this beta seems about as close as we're going to get to the final version. There's a little bit of a stutter you might have just seen there. We still have the feedback tool, of course, because it's a beta. But when this comes out to the public, on probably the 20th of September. So the Gold Master will probably be the 12th. We'll see this on the 20th, probably to the public. And along with new iPhones, we'll probably get another feature or two. We're not really sure at this point, but this particular beta is probably the best one I've seen so far. Battery has been pretty good. This was just restored, actually. I brought it to the Apple Store. I have an issue with the speakers. They're going to replace the display because this speaker is bad. That's a whole other story, but I just didn't have time for them to do it right now, so I'll have them do that later. There were some really great people at the Apple Store, and I got to talk to them about the channel and everything else, so that was really nice. But this beta, they were not really familiar with iOS 11 too much, but that's because the Apple Store employees don't really use the betas unless they really want to. Now, this particular beta has been really stable, like I said, and the battery has been pretty good. It easily lasts me through a day. I probably get about 6 hours of usage and I'll have about 40% left. I plug it in at night and that's it. So it's been holding up really well. Now, other than that 3D Touch stutter I mentioned, everything seems to be working okay now. The portrait mode in the camera works fine. Everything opens quickly. All of my photos are working quickly. Everything just seems to be much more polished. And in fact, to have this tested, to have that speaker tested, I actually had to roll this back to iOS 10. They tested the speaker, and by using iOS 10 for a little bit until I could upgrade back to iOS 11, and this was just within a past hour or so, just upgrading back to iOS 11, restoring all my apps, all that sort of thing, iOS 11 feels so much faster than iOS 10. Just going back and forth. So it's really a really good thing to actually see that iOS 11 is much, much better. So this particular beta I think is pretty much done. Then hopefully we'll see some new features or something along those lines when the iPhone 8 is announced. And I would say if you want to use it now, you could, or you can just wait another week or two and use the final version and you'll have it either way. It's up to you, but at this point, the beta is much more stable. It's working fine with Apple CarPlay, and everything seems to be working really well. There is one person that said that GarageBand doesn't work for them. I actually have no issues with GarageBand whatsoever. It seems to open and just load. So GarageBand is loading. You'll see it works fine. I haven't had any issues with GarageBand at all. I'll just close it because it was running in the background there recording. But this is really working fine. I don't have any issues with it whatsoever. Now, in the next week or so, we're going to see a lot of updates to apps, things like that, just because when they're getting ready for iOS 11, they have to update their apps. So we'll see the new App Store and a bunch of different updates come through that way. There'll be a bunch, and we'll see this kind of updated regularly, apps of the day. All these things will really have much more focus as to what's new and all sorts of things. So it's going to be great for all of us. But let me know your experience with iOS 11 in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.